Hi everyone. Today we're going to learn about random sampling. So remember the other day when we were talking about surveys and I was saying we were going to really start talking extensively about what makes a good survey and a good sample? Well, this is the start of that. Okay, so we're really going to start, talking about gaining information about a population and talk about different types of surveys and samples and what makes something valid. Okay, what makes it a good survey? So first, remember that a survey is a method of collecting data, okay, collecting information. The population is the group being surveyed, and sample is just part of the population. We said you might need a sample if the population is too large. It costs a lot of money and takes a lot of time to survey, an entire country or the whole world, or, you know, large populations take too long. So, okay, a new term for us, sample size. Okay, very simple, and I'm sure you could guess. This is the number of members in a sample. Okay, so when you decide that the population's too large to survey everyone, and you choose to only survey part of them, okay, when you determine the number of people you're actually surveying, that's your sample size. In order to get valid, good results, okay, we need to know that valid means good. A sample must be chosen very carefully. To do this, a random, keyword, you gotta know that, a random sample is selected so that it accurately represents the entire population. Okay, if there is anything you need to know about surveys and random sampling, it's that. Okay, in order to get a good result, a good survey, it has to be random and it has to represent the entire population. Okay, I had a conversation with, I think it was fourth period, about how if you wanted to know what everyone's favorite ice cream flavor was in the whole school, if you decided to only talk to, the seventh grade girls, okay, well, first of all, in our school, we have a whole bunch of grade levels, okay, way more than just middle school. So seventh grade doesn't fairly represent everyone. And if you only ask the girls, you're leaving out the boys. So that doesn't represent what their opinions might be. So we need a sample that represents everyone. Okay. A random sample can also be called unbiased. And it has two characteristics, a random sample. The first is that every member of the population has an equal chance of being selected. Okay, so I also mentioned to a group of students that, you can't walk in a room and say, oh, well, I'm on the soccer team, so I'm going to only ask soccer players because they're my favorite. Okay, that's not giving the entire population an equal chance of being selected. Okay? And then the second is that the selection of members is independent of each other. Okay? And when you're done filling that in, go ahead and flip the page. Okay. What we have here are three ways to pick an unbiased random sample. Okay, and the best way for me to describe something that's unbiased and random is that it's fair. Okay, and that's what you want in a survey. You want it to be fair. Okay, so there's three different ways we can achieve that. The first is with a simple random sample. Okay, and this is where each item or person in the population is as likely to be chosen as any other. Okay, and we really want to pay attention to these examples over here because it's going to help us understand. Okay, each student's name is written on a piece of paper. The names are placed in a bowl and the names are picked without looking. Okay, every name in that bowl has an equal chance of being chosen. Okay, there's, none of them are favored. Okay, we assume they're all the same color, all the same size. Okay, put the names in and we just pick. We could also use what's called a stratified random sample, okay, where you first divide the population into non-overlapping groups. Okay, groups being the key word, that's why I bolded it for you. Okay, and once you have your group, then you can select members from each group. Okay, so our example says if you want to know the average height of middle school students in a district, first split them by school, then randomly select students from each school. Okay, so this one's a little hard for us to understand because in East Rochester, it's just one school. Okay, but if you go to a larger district, okay, say Fairport, Penfield, Pittsford, okay, we know that there's usually more than one middle school. Not always. Okay, sometimes there's more than one high school or more than one elementary school. Okay, so these students have been split by school and then they've done a random selection within each school. Okay, we could do something similar at our school, or if you wanted to survey the middle school, okay, you could split everyone by 6th, 7th, and 8th grade and then randomly pick, right? We could group people and then randomly select. Again, the key word is that it's random, okay? Whether it's simple or stratified or our last one is systematic, it's always, 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 always random. Okay, that's what makes it fair. That's what makes it good. Okay, so our last one here is systematic. Okay, and this is where items or people are selected according to a specific time or interval. Okay, so again, I've bolded interval for you so you can remember systematic is an interval. Okay, and this one says every 20th person is chosen from an alphabetical list of all students attending a school. Okay, so there's a system to who you're picking, how you're picking them, and you go from there. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is take these definitions, and down below you have 3 examples, and I want you to label them as either simple random, stratified random, or systematic random. And once you're done with that, flip to the next page. Okay, now the opposite of something that's fair is something that's not fair. Okay, unfair. And we call that biased. Okay, if someone's biased, then they're favoring someone. Okay, so in a biased sample, one or more parts of the population are favored over others. Okay, that's just like if I said, well, I play soccer and soccer players are the best, so I'm only going to survey soccer players. Okay, you're favoring one group, and it's not giving a good representation of everyone. Okay, so in a biased sample, members are not randomly selected, and our results are not valid. Okay, if you do all that work and all that surveying just to find out that it's no good, okay, we don't want that. It's a waste of time. Okay, there's 2 types in particular that are not fair, okay, that are biased. Okay, the first is a convenience sample. Okay, a convenience sample consists of members of a population that are easily accessed. Okay, so an example, to represent all the students attending a school, the principal surveys the students in one math class. Okay, is it really easy to pick the first classroom you see, ask them a few questions, and be on your way? Well, sure, but that doesn't tell you what the whole school is feeling. Okay, it's just convenient. Okay, and then the second type that's not so good is voluntary response. Okay, and a couple of you, I think it was 6th period, a couple of you mentioned, the radio. Okay, call in and, if you do our survey, you'll get a prize and blah, blah, blah. Okay, people are volunteering to respond to that. Okay, it's not randomly chosen. Okay, people are volunteering to give their opinion. Okay, as an example of that is students at a college who wish to rate their professors complete an online survey. Okay, unless every single person in every single, class that professor has is filling out the paper, then it's not fair. Okay, it wasn't done randomly. Okay, and you tend to get people that feel very passionately. Okay, so people who really hate the professor are going to get on and say, ugh, this guy's the worst. And people who really love him are going to get on and say, oh my goodness, you have to take his class. And everyone in the middle probably doesn't care enough to get on and volunteer their response. Okay, we'll talk about these more tomorrow. Okay, but down below, you do have a few more questions. Okay, and I'd like you to label them as either unbiased valid or biased invalid. Okay, we will go over these tomorrow. Good luck.